need some
Kvetchium? I don't need Kvetchium.
Clearly
I need a nap.
The NPCP people are very upset with you. Their spokesman was just here, and perhaps they should take some Kvetchium. Maybe you should send them some Kvetchium.
I will.
A little more outraged.
But they might return it.
They might return it.
Okay, so that's always the take.
All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Our first guest on the program this evening is a best-selling author, and he was Sammy Davis Jr.'s biographer. Please welcome Burt Boyar.
Let him by, James. Don't trip him. You don't know what he does. Don't ever get sick around him.
I'll believe anything.
You believe anything? I believe anything.
Sick around me. Well,
oh, how happy are we having him here?
Very excited. Thanks for being here.
And Sue Katz could not make it and wants you to know that she's thrilled that you made it to the show. That's our executive producer. And get well, George, to her husband. And he's reading this book right now as we speak.
I'm going to read the book. You guys talk.
Get out of here.
No, this is a terrific book. And these are photos. All these photos are by Sammy Davis Jr.
These are pictures that Sammy himself took. He took pictures all the time of all of his friends, and then he would send them to us. If he liked the picture, he'd send it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's just tons of photos in here, and you did the text.
Well, he had amazing access. You know, he'd go backstage almost anywhere, and there are pictures in there of Betty Grable and Marilyn Monroe and someone else on a break in the middle of a movie, and normally people couldn't get in there, but they're smoking and having coffee, and they see Sammy with a camera, and they say, "Oh, it's just Sam."
And they let him in.
Yeah.
Did you get to go with him? Did you travel all around the world?
I spent a lot of time with him.
Yeah.
So, we met in New York, and I spent a year with him there, and then writing that book and another one called Why Me, I was with him for 2 years, I guess, but constantly.
How was that going through the times when he could not perform? He could perform in the white clubs but not enter through the front door. How did that?
Well, that goes back to the early days of Las Vegas. Mainly it was Vegas. The Vegas and Miami. He was able to star. I mean, this is so incredible. He could star in the show, have his name out front. He could not live in the hotel. He couldn't walk into the casino. He had to enter the hotel by the server's entrance. Couldn't even go in the front door. And finally, he became so big. This is after he lost his eye and he got enormous publicity, and he became a major figure, national figure. And then they started bidding for him, and they raised, and they kept raising the stakes. He said, "No way, I'm not going. I don't play anywhere where I can't be treated like anybody else, and where my grandmother can't come in and sit down and watch me." Wow. And so he continually refused offers $25,000 a week, which in those days was very good money.
You see what I work for.
And finally, one of the guys comes up with a brilliant idea. One of the hotel guys. He said, "Well, what about if we put a trailer in the parking lot?" He said, "Get out of here."
So he was the headliner, but he couldn't get in.
But then finally they said, "Anything you want," and he got the star suite and everything.
But like, what year does that finally happen? Even though he's already a huge star, when does it finally get a little better?
This would be in the late 50s, early 60s.
It finally starts getting better in the late 50s, early 60s.
Well, no, it wasn't getting better. It didn't get better till really
the late 60s.
Yeah.
Early 70s.
You've seen a lot, Burt.
I beg your pardon?
You've seen a lot.
I saw a lot with Sammy. It was a very privileged friendship. I got to meet a lot of people. I saw an awful lot. I saw the whole Rat Pack thing start.
Oh God, get him going.
I was there when in 1960 when they were shooting their first movie, and they all played the Sands at different times, but as Frank said, as long as we're going to be there, one of us will do the show every night. Whoever feels like doing the show will do it. Well, they all felt like doing the show every night, so they all did it.
So that's how it started.
So you had 5 guys, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy, Peter Lawford, and Joey Bishop, all on stage at the same time, and they were having more fun than the audience. It was incredible.
He's a fan, a huge fan also of Dean Martin.
Yeah, all those guys. Dean Martin especially. Yeah, I was a big Dean Martin fan, and Sammy Davis Jr. And what was Sammy Davis's Judaism like? I mean, he kept kosher. Did he keep the holidays? How?
Sammy was very, very serious about it. In fact, while I was living in Spain, in the south of Spain, writing the second book that we wrote together, I called him on Yom Kippur, and he wouldn't take my call. I just called to say, hello, how are you? But he wouldn't take my call, and I called him again the next day, and I said, what was that? He said, I was afraid you wanted to talk business.
Is that, now, can you tell us a story about MGM that is that true that he didn't want to work one day on a movie? Because it was Yom Kippur?
Oh, sure. They were shooting Porgy and Bess. When he went up to Sam Goldwyn, and Sam, he said, I can't work on Yom Kippur. And Goldwyn said, but that's going to cost $25,000. He said, I'm sorry, sir, I just can't do it. And he said, and you know, he's spluttering, and
he's Jewish.
Over 25,000, you splutter. And so finally, he said, "All right, go with your yarmulke and your talis." He said, "What can I do?" I said, "I can handle crazy actors. I can't handle a colored Jewish."
One-eyed.
Yeah, one-eyed. Yeah.
You just wouldn't work Yom Kippur, huh?
Actually, that story is in there.
That story's in the book?
Yeah.
In which book? In Yes, I Can.
Yes, I Can.
Yes, I Can.
Yeah. How much, because I want to say, everybody's always saying how Barack Obama started Yes, I Can, and I say, oh no.
Yes,
Burt Boyar started Yes, I Can.
Well, that was published in 1965.
All right, well, we have to take a break.
I want to talk about that.
Sure, yeah. We will be right back with Burt Boyar.
Up next on James and Sunda, more stories on Frank, Sammy, and Dean.